If you want to seem more powerful, though, move slower. You'll see people who are powerful walk through a crowd slowly, and everybody gets the heck out of their way.
Hey everyone, I'm Chris Thompson. This is Mike Mandel. We run MikeMandelHypnosis.com. We teach hypnosis training and personal development. In this video, we're actually sticking more to the personal development side of things because we're going to talk about proxemics and body language. We're going to kind of combine these in an interesting way in this video. So let's start, first of all, just a quick definition. What is proxemics?
Okay. Proxemics is really the science of how close to each other people stand.
Okay. And we're going to tie this in with the idea of rapport and calibration because those are important skills for all hypnotists and all people. Anyone in any kind of relationship, any engagement, any interaction with another person, you should probably care about the level of rapport you're in and calibrating in order to either establish or break that rapport, if you're trying to end the conversation. So, okay, let's start off. Proxemics.
Proxemics comes from the work of Edward T. Hall, and it's basically figuring out the different ranges that people function in. So the closest one is the intimate range. Now realize these aren't carved in stone. They're on a
spectrum.
They're on a
so there's a continuum.
Intimate range is 0 to 2 feet, and only people, get away from me. Only people really close to you get into that range, like your spouse or your child, or maybe your cat or dog.
Best friends.
And it's very vulnerable when someone is in that close. As jiu-jitsu practitioners, we don't like people that close, and he's getting there. My elbow's
You're not going to let someone in your intimate range if they're a potential threat.
Absolutely, because it can kill you, unless you're putting a choke on them or something. Now, the second range, you're starting with intimate, and then you're moving into personal range. Now,
and that's probably one of the most common, right?
That's where you're going to hang with your friends.
We're talking like this.
It's just 2 to 4 feet. And this feels comfortable because I know you. I know you're not going to flick the boot and kick me or something.
I could, but I won't.
But you're not going to. And I could block it.
So that's a personal range, right?
So that's personal range. We have this between close friends and people who are in the same family. Now we move outside that to range, let's say, 4 to 12 feet. Now we're getting into,
what do we call that?
So we've got intimate, we have personal, now we have social.
Social.
So you're at a party, typically you just meet someone for the first time. You're not going to be standing within that 4-foot personal range even.
Until you build a relationship.
Until you build a relationship, or at least the semblance of one.
And we don't have enough space to really demonstrate that one on camera. But
all right, so we're back here, so we're at a party. Hey, how's that
nice
martini,
to meet
Chris?
you.
Oh, nice to meet you too. That's social, and that's pretty normally typically the place that we're going to function. Now, outside that, we have the public range, and that's everything else after about 12 feet. So think about it. You're walking down the street. It's a large city street. You're not going to try to walk really close to someone or they'll think you're weird. You want to keep that distance, and it will maybe get into a bit more social range if you're confined in an elevator or something. In fact, elevators are weird because it often forces people.
It forces you into that social range or even personal range.
It can force you into intimate range if the elevator is full.
It's very awkward. That's
and you're
right.
all standing there looking at each other like.
So no one talks.
Jack the look at each other boy. Yeah, so nobody talks to each other, and it's freaky. Now, there are cultures where the proxemics are different. There are cultures where, unless you're breathing in the person's face when you're talking to them, you can feel their breath, you're being unfair or unkind, you're not accepting them. This is not Western culture, though. So keep in mind, when you're interacting with a person, let them choose the range. It's as simple as that. If you're talking to someone who you don't know well and they start squeezing into your range closer and closer, you're going to feel very uncomfortable. So if this is something where you have to build rapport or you're working in a business meeting or something, let the other person choose the range. If they choose to be further away, don't crowd them. If they choose to move in close, don't push them back. I mean, within reason. Let the other person choose the range to maintain the rapport.
Now, similarly, I suppose you could let them set the range, and then as the conversation progresses, if you want to test the waters and see, hey, is this going well, you can move in a little closer, and if you calibrate no problems, you're going to have defined a closer relationship with that person.
Yes, or you could, in theory, you could move from, public range to a motel, like going through these different stages, which would actually happen in the real world, but not usually that quickly.
So use your calibration skills to determine whether or not the range is appropriate. If you move in to test the waters, can we bring this relationship closer? and you calibrate, hey, you know, this isn't so comfortable, immediately maintain the rapport, back off a bit, right?
And yes, that's correct. And sometimes people would make the mistake of thinking, well, when in doubt, make it a little further away. That would seem rational. It would seem reasonable, but it's not.
You'll come across as distant.
That's right. You can come across as distant, which is also a rapport breaker. So get a feel for the other person, where they stand. And of course, if you're uncomfortable with the closeness of the range, the simple solution is to blade your body slightly, which
less confrontational than being head on.
And it's also protecting your genitals in case they do go psychotic and try to kill you. Now let's talk about body language.
Yeah, I was just going to say, let's make sure we give some body language tips here as well.
Well, you want to be assertive but not aggressive. So this kind of body language is probably not a good idea.
Right. In fact, we did a separate video on assertion versus aggression, right?
I think you should look at it. But what about placement of your hands? I was fortunate to do a training in Hollywood, and Joe Navarro, the FBI body language expert, was on the same bill. And a couple of things he said are amazing. One of them is what you do with your thumbs sends a powerful message. When you put your hands in your pockets.
Here, let's go on tiptoes
on my toes. Notice.
Thumbs out.
My thumbs are out of the pockets. Well, there, you can see it now. You don't want to tuck your hands, your thumbs in and leave your hands out. I know, I'm looking at the monitor, so I want to make sure I got it right. If you put your thumbs in your pockets, that's a sign of weakness. You want your hand in your pocket, your jacket pocket, whatever. Always have the thumb out, even if you're a female. And you'll see historically, certain people have done this. It comes across as very powerful. Both John and Robert Kennedy did this, and it always sends a message of dominance and strength without being over the top. So that's a great one. Another one is do not be folding your arms defensively.
Right. This is
bad posture.
This is closed off, and we're like hiding our hands.
Hiding in the hidery.
So we want one hand on top.
Right, and that's the police way too. You have a hand on top because this way you can still break, you'll stun somebody if you have to. You don't wind them up so you can't move them.
It's an interesting thing, right? Because I'm just watching on the monitor here.
See, he's watching the monitor now.
So this comes across pretty normal. As soon as we tuck it away, it's more closed off.
More defensive.
Yeah.
It just fold it on top. And the other one is whenever you're dealing with someone with this kind of setting, make sure when you're making eye contact, you're looking and you're looking away. If you want to maintain rapport, the moment you meet them, smile. That will have primacy for the rest of the relationship. Smile when you meet them, look them in the eyes, look away. Look them in the eyes, look away. Don't do this.
One of the best things that you can do, in my opinion, is to get used to the idea of making comfortable eye contact, but not maintaining it into awkward territory. Give it a little break, come back. Give it a little break, come back. Let's talk about also positioning of your, like the Superman pose, right?
Yeah, well, this can seem, this is supposed to be, a pose that shows dominance and strength, but you can overuse it if you're not careful.
Right.
This is great if you're the CEO in a meeting to stand with your hands on your hips. To everybody else is going to feel a bit weird if they do
can move it around. You don't have to hold it for a long time.
And if you do fists, then it's getting way too freaking weird for the average guy.
Captain Morgan.
Yeah.
We can't do that. Our feet are not going to show off.
Now, the other one is your feet placement. Your feet should be stable and separated slightly. If you put them really far apart, like you're doing,
you don't want to be standing like you're on a diving board or something.
Definitely
like this,
not. And here's the thing: if you tuck your chin in, put one foot up on your toe, and hunch with your arms folded, that is sending such a posture of weakness that the other person will dominate you in the conversation.
Yeah.
You'll see people in a bar standing by the bar, and nobody's going to approach that person because they seem weak.
The general idea
fearful.
being that if you're standing in a way that takes up more space, you're sending more of a signal of dominance, right? Now, that doesn't have to mean aggressive dominance or anything, just assertive. Hey, I'm comfortable in my own space. I'm taking up appropriate space.
And now now we have another spectrum here. If you want to seem younger, if you're a senior citizen like me, move quicker. Moving quickly, walking quickly. When I would do keynotes, I would bound onto the stage like AC/DC and with a lot of energy, which is surprising for someone to see, for somebody who's almost 70. So it would send a strong message of vigor and health and vitality. If you want to seem more powerful, though, move slower. You'll see people who are powerful walk through a crowd slowly, and everybody gets the heck out of their way.
Yeah, because in fact, if you imagine a nervous person moving through a crowd, they're going to be quick moving, jittery kind of.
That's right.
Yeah.
In fact, this body language, if you want to seem like you're insane, although I don't know why you would, but if you want to seem like you're insane, take normal. I actually taught this on a TV program. If you want to seem like you're not normal, do any normal gesture, but at the wrong speed, either too fast or too slow. So if you scratch yourself, do it like this. Or like this.
That's too
The wrong
funny.
speed sends scary messages.
All right, so I think those are some decent tips on proxemics and on body language. So recapping, make sure that you're using your calibration skills to determine what distance is appropriate in any interaction to maintain rapport or break it if you want to get out of the conversation. See you later. And of course, body language, make sure that you're standing in a way that conveys that you are assertive, that you have personal power, but you're also not a jerk or anything like that too.
Correct.
Okay, so check out more videos on our YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, then ring the bell so that you'll always be notified. And go ahead and visit our website. If you want more details, you'll see links in the description under this video. You can check out our personal growth membership, which is a great set of collection of courses on making your life more awesome. Thanks again, and good night.